Hey, this is Fohnzii, and today in this video we're going to be discussing how you can achieve your goals that much faster and become a Grandmaster in whatever you choose. Also, this channel's goals, our first long-term series, and how we're going to approach a series. And also in the background of this video is going to be some gameplay from a group coaching session that I had with Yusheng and the gang. In the gameplay, I'm up against a much higher MMR Terran from the team, and I'm going to refer to the gameplay later on in the video. First of all, though, I want to give a bit of background on who I am. I'm a guy who's played baseball for 20 years up until the collegiate level for a short time before I ran into some pretty significant health issues that caused me to give that up. Besides that, I'm currently a competitive powerlifter as well as sort of a hobbyist competitive gamer. What I mean by that is that I haven't had a whole lot of opportunity to spend a ton of time doing competitive gaming, but I really have been into the scene for a really long time. Talk about more of that later. I've loved video games all my life and played as much as I could while balancing school, friends, girlfriends, sports, family, etc. It wasn't until I was well into college and done with baseball that I was able to dedicate much more time to competitive games. So the first one I dumped a lot of time into was Dota, about 3,000 hours, and made it to 4,000 MMR, which, yeah, I know that's not the top 1% or anything, but I was really proud of it, and it took a lot of learning, patience, frustration, and repetition. As much as I love Dota, though, the problem for me is that it takes 6 minutes or more to find a game in my role of safe lane, and then games can take anywhere between 30 minutes to longer than an hour, which is, not ideal. This ends up causing issues in my life because I have more to attend to now than in the last few years. Things like work can come up at any time, and in Dota that means abandoning 4 teammates, as well as losing MMR instantly, as well as lowering your behavior score, which can lead to really, really awful games. So I took a moment to reflect and knew for sure that I still wanted to have a competitive game to improve over time. Something that really challenged me with a lot of nuance and strategy. So this reflection pointed me in the direction of StarCraft 2 since I played in the days of Total Biscuit, Idra, In Control, Artosis, which meant I had some really fond memories of the game, even if I only played for a short while. I basically picked up StarCraft 2. I still have I can still remember exactly when I did it. I was in freshman year of high school. I think I was about 13 years old, and I went to Best Buy with my mom, and I saw StarCraft Wings of Liberty just like on the shelf there, and I was like, wow, this game looks pretty badass. Let me try to convince my mom to get this for me. And I played it for a short time before I gave that up. At the time, StarCraft 2 was a massive esport, and it pretty much brought all the hype from Korean Brood War and put itself on full display for the masses in the Western crowds. This was when Twitch TV was still Justin TV, which I'm sure some of you will remember, and a lot of you probably don't even know that Justin TV was ever a thing. But I was watching my first international for Dota as well at the time, and what a time to be alive. Anyway, thinking about all of this made me realize that I still had the urge to play StarCraft, which seemed like a much better option for me as a competitive game since it was 1v1 and the games were relatively short, plus the game was complex, decision making is very difficult, and there's a lot of depth to micro and macro. You can be an expert in macro and you can get really far. You can be an expert in micro and win with half the supply, so it's really cool. I immediately got to watching some bronze to GM low APM Zerg videos from Winter StarCraft and went into playing against the AI to refine my build order. So I even took the very scary jump of not using the default key bindings, but rather practicing the core. Link is going to be in the description if anybody's interested in using the core. This is not sponsored or anything. It's just I think it's good, so I want you guys to be able to experience it if you're interested. And through the very small amount of knowledge that I acquired from Winter and my desire to get better, I played the AI over and over and over again until I was confidently maxing out my army at 9 minutes. So after this point, and after I felt somewhat comfortable with my macro, I went onto the ranked ladder as soon as I was comfortable with my new key bindings, and I got to Diamond in about 75 games. Honestly, I was very surprised that with the little amount of experience that I had, I got to Diamond, since Diamond is like, I don't know, the top 10% of the player base or something like that. But really, it goes to show that if you just like practice the very, very basics, which would be, being comfortable with your key bindings and just like being able to max out your army as quick as possible, you can get to Diamond as well. And I know you might be thinking, wow, Diamond's so quick. I've played thousands of games over the years and still I'm not Diamond. Or maybe you know someone with a story like this. That's okay. My first game on the ladder was October 31st, 2022. I'm now a few hundred games into it with a peak MMR of 3309. So I tell you all this to tell you what the series is going to be about. Throughout my life, I've set goals and I've struggled to achieve them. And through this struggle, I've taken the time to be introspective and identify within myself why I have a hard time with certain things, how to achieve these goals, and what achieving these goals has taught me. So hopefully by taking you on another journey in my life, which is going to be to achieve Grandmaster in StarCraft 2, I can help you find something that you can relate to, and maybe through my discussion you can also find something to help you along your own journey, even if it isn't gaming related. So obviously I know my community at first is going to be StarCraft centric, and that's awesome. However, I see this channel growing into many different things. So, it can be later on powerlifting journeys, career journeys. I'm a sales guy, so I've been doing sales for 4 years now. Education journeys, self-development journeys, and many other things. So I'm going to be using my experience outside of the gaming world and also what I've learned from gaming. I've been gaming since I was 6 years old. I had my PlayStation 1 at my grandparents' house and, grew into a PC gamer. And yeah, so I've played a lot, experienced a lot in the gaming world, bad personalities, good personalities, and just feel like I can help you with some of my discussion here. So anyways, quite the long-winded intro to a channel, but don't worry, the first video won't be just that. I wanted to talk today a little bit about planning. So what exactly is planning, and how can we incorporate it into our lives in order to have a better chance of achieving our goals? Let's start with the definition of planning. So the definition of planning is the process of making plans for something. All right, thank you very much. Yeah, that's really helpful. But let's define what a plan actually is. So a plan is a detailed proposal for doing or achieving something, or an intention or decision about what one is going to do. So, much better explanation. A plan is making a decision about what someone is going to do, as well as a detailed proposal for achieving something. So how can I create a plan for hitting Grandmaster in StarCraft 2? Well, the first iteration of my plan is not going to be some mastermind idea, but it's going to be simple enough that it'll get us started. So up until now, I've put in about 400 games over the course of a month and a half. That puts us at almost 9 games a day. I think the most important thing to realize when you're taking on anything is that you need a lot of reps over a large period of time in order to really burn something into your brain or develop the muscle memory required in order to be really proficient at something. For me, I've identified that I should play at least 10 games a day in order to get enough repetitions to improve. 10 games is also a nice amount because it's a good amount of games, but also not so many that I burn out very quickly because I'm overwhelming myself early on. This is something that I actually learned from Dota, because I would, let's say, when I really started playing pretty heavily in actually during COVID, I would watch the back-to-back TI runs for OG, and it would get me super hyped to play Dota. And essentially what would happen is that I would play way too much Dota over the course of 2 months, and then I'd be like, yeah, I'm pretty tired of Dota. Dota's pretty stressful, and it's just unhealthy. And you kind of put things on the side, exercising. So yeah, don't play as much as you physically can. You should have quality over quantity, but still a good amount of quantity in there as well. So anyways, I think for some people that telling themselves that they have to play 10 games a day can be quite intimidating, since StarCraft 2 was the first game that introduced me to ladder anxiety. And it's essentially that feeling of, oh man, I'm not good enough to queue up for this game. I'm going to get absolutely stomped. It's that thing in your brain telling you to strive for what's comfortable, which in this case would be to not press the button that puts you into an uncomfortable situation. However, we must get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I'm not going to be that type that tells you to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and just get it done. I'd much rather give you a plan as to how you can get this done. So there's a book, a great book by James Clear called Atomic Habits. And in this book, James goes over exactly how you can construct a habit of sticking to good habits. So let's keep it StarCraft related. So in this manner, the first law of how to create a good habit is to make it obvious. I'm not going to regurgitate exactly what James says, as you can just go read the book for yourself if you want to, but I'm going to summarize it for you. So you should make a time and location for your habit. Essentially something like, I will play 10 games of StarCraft at 3 p.m. in my room. Obviously, for most of us, it's going to be in our room since that's where our desktop is. But you get the idea. This can be applied to many things outside of gaming. But for StarCraft, this is what we can do. So set a time, whatever time that you know you have throughout the day where you can kind of have like a distraction-free, uninterrupted gaming time. Probably the best time for you to set it up. If that means you have to wake up early, move things around, get a schedule for your sleep. It is what it is. I need to work on that too, to be honest. I'm not free of this criticism. So we can start off with that, and then this way you don't think about something like, oh, I don't feel like playing StarCraft at this time, when in reality you're just playing mind games with yourself because you've already convinced yourself that today is going to be a bad day of ladder, or that you think your play is going to suffer because you're not in the most optimal state of mind, or you're not feeling the absolute best that you can. This is not important. Just press ranked, press play, and get the 10 games done. And obviously, don't autopilot your way through it. Try to think about your decisions and try to reflect on what you're doing, but don't overwhelm yourself with a lot of negative thoughts. So try this one simple thing for your next session, see how it feels, and better yet, honestly, try it for a week. You'll really love how you'll feel after you've logged in 70 games of StarCraft in a week. And you can say to yourself, I've executed on the plan to get better this week. So anyways, I think that's enough for the first episode of The Journey of a Grandmaster. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, leave a comment, share with your friends. You know the deal. It really helps the channel, and I'd be forever grateful. I plan on uploading 1 to 2 times a week, and I'm going to try to make the video more and more high quality each time as I learn to edit, include visuals, all the other stuff that like actual good YouTubers do. So this is Fohnzii, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much.